Senator from Wyoming.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, as you know, job creation in this country has come to a halt. The Labor Department reported last Friday that 0 jobs were created in August. The economic recovery that was hoped for failed to materialize. Unemployment remains at 9.1%. Hope is not enough. Our economy is stagnant. The president's latest pivot to jobs is anchored on blaming the previous administration, which is now nearly 3 years past. Yet despite repeated assurances of improvement, President Obama's own economic policies have failed. The president's stimulus plan failed to produce the 3.5 million jobs that he promised. His Green Jobs initiative gave us more red ink, but never came close to the 5 million new jobs that he predicted that it would. All the while, federal bureaucracy he controls churns out expansive and expensive new regulations that amount to an assault on private sector job creation. The facts really are inescapable. Since President Obama took office, America has lost approximately 2.3 million jobs. We are in an economic crisis, a crisis that extends to America's confidence in the president to do anything that will change the current course. What the American people want is a plan that will yield results. They want leadership, and they have rejected the president's insistence that the only way forward is through more spending. Today, Western members of the Senate and House are calling on the president to accept a new way, a pro-growth plan to create jobs in the West that will lead to broader economic recovery all across the country. The Western Caucus Jobs Frontier report was produced by members of the Senate and House Western Caucuses. It contains legislative proposals already introduced in both houses of Congress, and these are proposals that create jobs now. The proposals we support speak largely to the economic challenges faced by Western states. They are also aimed at ruinous regulations and reliance on foreign energy and lawsuit abuse that continues to stifle our entire economy. These bills are ready to pass. They are ready to create jobs today. Any serious job creation proposal has to start with serious steps to increase affordable American energy. For decades, Westerners have worked in high-paying energy jobs, and these jobs have good benefits. Since taking office, the Obama administration has consistently pushed extreme policies and heavy-handed regulations that make it harder to develop American energy. Very simply, fewer energy projects mean fewer American jobs. Members of the Senate and Congressional Western Caucuses have proposed a wide range of legislation to increase the number of red, white, and blue energy jobs all across the country. Encouraging the development of an all-of-the-above energy resources will create thousands of jobs in the West and make our country less dependent on foreign energy. This administration has consistently shut down offshore energy exploration. It's arbitrarily canceled existing leases. It continues to try and impose additional hurdles to onshore production, such as redundant environmental reviews, burdensome permitting review requirements, and delays in processing of applications. Our bills, the ones in this report, will streamline the permitting process and break down the barriers imposed by President Obama. This will make it cheaper and easier for the private sector to create jobs. Westerners recognize that we can't pick and choose which forms of energy to support. When it comes to energy, we need it all, and we need it now. That's why we need a bill that will let energy producers tap existing resources of American oil and natural gas. Our plan is a bill that will do that. It's called Domestic Jobs, Domestic Energy, and Deficit Reduction. It's been introduced by both Representative Rob Bishop of Utah and David Vitter of Louisiana. This bill would force the Interior Department to stop blocking offshore energy exploration. That department's stall tactics have gone so far that even President Bill Clinton has called them ridiculous. The Domestic Jobs, Domestic Energy, and Deficit Reduction Act would reduce the Obama administration and force the Obama administration to quit stalling. The barrage of new regulations coming out of Washington continues to be a big, wet blanket thrown over the job creators in our country. In July of 2011, this administration issued 229 rules, and it finalized 379 additional rules that are going to cost our job creators over $9.5 billion. That's in July alone. Our plan includes a bill that I have introduced called the Employment Impact Act. This bill forces Washington's regulators to look before they leap when it comes to regulations that could hurt American jobs. Under this bill that I've introduced, every regulatory agency would be required to prepare a jobs impact statement. They'd have to do it with every new rule that they propose. That statement would include a detailed assessment of the jobs that would be lost or gained or sent overseas by any given rule. It would consider whether new rules would have a bad impact on our job market in general. The administration has also attempted to drastically increase wilderness areas, to expand Washington's jurisdiction on private waters, and to misuse the Endangered Species Act. Well, Mr. President, Western lawmakers are proposing to reassert congressional authority to ensure a proper balance between job creation and conservation. Our bills in this report will increase transparency and stop any administration from issuing regulations without considering the local economic impact. Throughout our nation's history, Mr. President, American farmers and ranchers have provided an affordable, abundant, and safe domestic supply of food and energy. Well, in recent years, America's agriculture and forestry industries have been increasingly threatened by the surge of regulations coming from Washington, especially those from the Environmental Protection Agency. Our plan is going to push back. We will strengthen these industries and their ability to meet the world's growing food and energy needs. Westerners also recognize the mining sector is vital to our economic recovery. We know that the manufacturing jobs cannot be created without the raw materials needed to produce those goods. Well, since the Obama administration won't break down barriers to American minerals, our nation is growing increasingly dependent on foreign minerals, countries like China and Russia. This inaction is unacceptable, and it is inexcusable. Our plan includes Senator Murkowski's bill, the Critical Minerals Policy Act. That will ensure that the long-term viability of American mineral production will be there. Her bill will require the U.S. Geological Survey to establish a list of minerals critical to the U.S. economy, and then provide a comprehensive set of policies to address each economic sector that relies upon those critical minerals. It also creates a high-level interagency working group to optimize the efficiency of permitting in order to facilitate increased exploration and production of domestic critical minerals. These are just some of the ideas, Mr. President, included in our Jobs Frontier plan. As it says, breaking down Washington's barriers to America's red, white, and blue jobs. We eliminate backdoor cap and tax regulations. And finally, we will take on excessive lawsuits against federal agencies that have increased dramatically and destroyed jobs in the West. Every single one of the bills, Mr. President, in the Republican jobs plan has been written and introduced in one or both houses of Congress. This is a plan that can be implemented now. This is a plan that will work to create jobs, and this is a plan that will reduce the cost of energy and restart the economy. Mr. President, there's a lot that needs to be done to fix our ailing economy. These are some ideas, Western ideas that come from the lawmakers that know best how our rural communities are suffering and how we can get folks back to work. Many of these proposals come from the states. They have the support of our Western governors and legislators. These are ideas not born in Washington. Recent jobless numbers confirm that the current approach from Washington has failed. If the President is serious about incorporating the ideas of every American in every part of the country, then he needs to look beyond Washington. I want to thank every member of the Senate and Congressional Western Caucuses for their work and their expertise on this report. I look forward to turning these ideas into policies and that way putting all of America back to work. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.